What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop, and in this video, as you can see, we are going into voiceover mode because I am recording this right in the middle of the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee mania, and it is pretty crazy, and I don't really have time to do this one on camera, so we're just gonna kind of lay low, take it easy, and do this one voiceover style. Now, if you're wondering why this video isn't Let's Go or Kanto themed, that would be because it was actually voted on by my lovely patrons over at Patreon, and if you would like to be a patron yourself and gain the ability to vote on videos you would like to see, as well as gain access to a bunch of other perks as well, then you can head over to patreon.com/hoopsandhiphop. Link will be in the iCard at the top right corner of the screen, as well as in the description, and it only costs as little as $1 a month and directly supports videos like this, and it makes a huge difference, so take a look at that if you're interested. With that being said though, as I'm sure you can already tell, we are going to be continuing our Generational Facts series today and be looking at the first half of the Sinnoh Pokedex, covering one single fact about every single Sinnoh Pokemon. Now, Sinnoh being introduced in the 4th generation of Pokemon games, introduced 107 new Pokemon, and this Pokedex in particular has, in my opinion, some of the best Pokemon of all time, and we're going to be covering 53 of them today, and we'll be covering the next 54 in another video a week from today. However, there's some great Pokemon in this first batch, so why don't we go ahead and just get started. Now, first off, I've got to correct a boo-boo that I made in the last Generational Facts video because I totally forgot Glalie when I was covering the second half of the Sinnoh Pokedex. So really quick, I am going to tell you guys a cool fact about Glalie. Believe it or not, for some odd reason, Glalie actually shares all of its base stats, point for point, with the mythical Sinnoh Pokemon, so it kind of does tie into Sinnoh, Phione. Yeah, kind of weird, but still cool at the same time. Moving on to the actual Sinnoh Pokemon, the grass starter Turtwig actually has the lowest base speed stat out of all starter Pokemon, which is very fitting considering it's a turtle. Grotle, along with its evolution Torterra, are actually partially based on the world turtle, which is a mythological creature that is said to carry entire worlds on their backs. The reason why this is significant is that if you have ever watched the majorly popular and majorly awesome TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender, you might know that there is also a character in that show that is based on the world turtle as well, and that would be the lion turtle. Torterra actually has a lot of similarities with Blastoise when it comes to the Pokemon anime, because both Pokemon in the anime have been owned by one of Ash's rivals at some point in time, and were also those rivals' starter Pokemon. On top of that, they're both turtle-like Pokemon, they were both seen for the very first time in their final forms, they were never ever seen at any point in their mid-evolved forms, and they were also seen in their pre-evolved first stage forms in flashbacks. According to Chimchar's Pearl Dex entry, its fiery rear end is fueled by gas made in its belly. Even rain can't extinguish the fire. Now, basically what this is telling us is that Chimchar has fiery farts, and you know what? I don't think I needed to know that personally. Its evolution Monferno is actually a Pokemon that was at one point owned by a main character in a very obscure Pokemon manga known as Pocket Monsters Platinum Aim to be Battle King. Now, the premise of this manga is not that it takes place in the Pokemon world, because it literally surrounds a boy who owns this Monferno who goes by the name of Yu Shirogane, and the plot of the game surrounds him literally playing the Pokemon Platinum video game. So it doesn't take place in the Pokemon world, it literally is just him actually playing Pokemon Platinum on his DS, like score another one for Japan. Its final evolution, Infernape, is actually based on Sun Wukong, who is the main character in the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West. As a matter of fact, this character also serves as inspiration for one of the most famous anime characters of all time, and that would be none other than Goku from the Dragon Ball franchise. Now, Piplup actually has some interesting yet subtle references in its design. If you look between its eyes and above its beak, you will see a crown shape, which is actually a reference to the fact that it's going to evolve into an Emperor Penguin in Empoleon. On top of that, if you take a look at the collar that it has below its head and take a look at it at the right angle, you can also see that it somewhat resembles a life vest as well. With Prinplup, we have a fact in the savage category because according to an interview with the former director and storyboard artist of the Pokemon anime, Masamitsu Hidaka, he actually said that the reason why Dawn's Piplup didn't ever evolve is because its evolutions, including Prinplup and Empoleon, were, quote, too ugly or not good enough for Pokemon contests. Yikes. Now, the coolest fact that I could possibly offer about Empoleon is also one of the reasons why I love it as a Pokemon, and that is because it is actually heavily inspired by Napoleon Bonaparte. This is where it gets the second half of its English name, as well as the second half of its Japanese name, Enperte, and it even goes so far as to have roughly the same exact height as Napoleon Bonaparte himself, standing about 5 feet 7 inches tall. With Starly, in the Generation 5 games, Starly's hidden ability was actually the exact same as its regular ability, which was Keen Eye, and it wasn't until it evolved into Staravia and Staraptor that it gained the hidden ability Reckless. This actually means that if you take a Starly from Generation 5 and transfer it into the Generation 6 games, its hidden ability will actually change from Keen Eye to Reckless. Its evolution Staravia, much like Starly itself, is based on a starling. However, in terms of its outward appearance, it actually looks much more like that of the Northern Lapwing. Staraptor, granted as its time as a Starly, is the only Pokemon in the Pokemon anime that Pikachu wasn't present for when Ash caught it, because Ash actually caught Staraptor as a Starly in the episode 2 Degrees of Separation while he was searching for Pikachu, who had gone missing due to the shenanigans of Team Rocket. Since Bidoof is a derpy Pokemon, it might be easy to assume that the second half of its name comes from the word doofus, and while this very well could be true, it's also very likely that it also comes from the word Shadoof, which is the name for a device that is used in some countries to draw up water from rivers and lakes. Also, as a matter of fact, it just so happens to look like a loaf of bread with a cupcake on its face. If you look closely, I'm sure you'll see it, and you'll never unsee it again. It's also possible that the beginning of its evolution Bibarel's name, among other things, comes from the word bib due to the bib-like pattern on the front of Bibarel's body. When it comes to Kricketot, while being pretty subtle about it, it is actually extremely musically inspired in its design. First off, it wears a musical conductor's coat complete with a large collar, and its chest and stomach also resemble a stringed instrument like a violin or something like that, and its antennae actually resemble the horns of a phonograph as well, which is one of the earliest devices to be able to record and reproduce sound. Kricketune, outside of the Dele Dele Hoop, actually resembles that of a violin beetle, which is a bug with an abdomen that once again assumes the appearance of an actual violin or another similar stringed instrument. In a pretty big coincidence, Shinx actually bears a remarkable resemblance to the hoax Pokemon known as Korochu that appeared in a fake April Fool's Day ad in 2005, which once again coincidentally was right before the premiere and release of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Luxio is the only Pokemon with the base stat total of 363. Its Pokedex number is also 404, making it most likely, because I didn't go through every Pokemon and check, the only Pokemon whose Pokedex number and base stat total are both palindromes. How's that for a random fact? According to the Pokedex, its evolution Luxray is said to have the ability to see through solid objects, and this ability actually comes from the fact that it's based on the Lynx, who in European mythology is also said to have the same ability. This is also most likely why you can see the word X-ray in Luxray's name. Badoo, as well as its final evolution Roserade, are the only Pokemon to be right next to each other in the National Pokedex, and yet also have an evolutionary stage between the two of them. Roserade is also one of only 2 third stage Pokemon that can be obtained at level 1, with the only other one being Porygon Z. This is due to the fact that Roselia evolves into Roserade with a shiny stone, and because you can technically breed a Roserade, because in order to breed a Badoo, you actually need a Rose incense, otherwise you will breed a Roselia. Next up is Cranidos, and very appropriately, the very first move that Cranidos learns by level up is Headbutt, and the last move it learns by level up is Head Smash. In an unfortunate turn of events, its evolution Rampardos' Japanese name is Rampald, which, as I'm sure you can see, partially comes from the English word bald. Now, why you gotta play a brother like that, Game Freak? According to Shieldon's Ultramoon Dex entry, although its fossils can be found in layers of primeval rock, nothing but its face has ever been discovered. So basically imagine you being a paleontologist and just coming up on a bunch of disembodied Shieldon faces. Yeah, I'm sure that's a great time. With its evolution Bastiodon, it definitely lives up to its reputation as a defensive Pokemon, because only 4 of the moves it learns by level up have an established base power, and there's only 2 more of its moves that are capable of even doing any damage at all. Burmy, despite never being seen without its cloak in the main series games, actually has a confirmed design as to what it looks like without its cloak, looking somewhat like a caterpillar. Wormadam, being one of the 2 evolutions that Burmy can evolve into, is based on the adult female bagworm, which never actually develops wings, explaining why Wormadam can only be female. On the flip side, Mothim, as the other evolution to Burmy, is only male because only male adult bagworms fully mature and get their wings. Up next is Combee, and Combee is the only Pokemon that actually evolves based on gender, who also has an established gender difference as well. With Vespiquen, even though it's probably coincidental, it's very fitting that Combee, the adolescent bee, evolves into Vespiquen, the adult queen bee, at level 21, which is an age at which one would be considered an adult in a lot of different cultures. Buizel actually has a small yet consistent error in its animation in the Pokemon anime, where every time it uses Water Gun, its eyes will turn the same color as the color of the water gun. Now, a cool part of Floatzel's design that's easy to miss because it can only be truly seen from the back and wasn't visible in its original Gen 4 back sprites is that the part of Floatzel's body that hangs around its neck actually resembles a towel from the front thanks to the way that Floatzel holds it in its artwork, but from the back you can also see that it is somewhat of an inner tube as well, giving a nice subtle double aquatic reference to Floatzel's design. According to Cherubi's Diamond Pokedex entry, the small ball holds the nutrients needed for evolution. Apparently, it is very sweet and tasty. Now, that last sentence basically confirms the fact that humans are eating Cherubi, and I would just like to call the police on each and every one of them. When it comes to Cherim, although it may seem based on the appearance of its 2 forms that the sunshine form of Cherim is simply covered up by its petals in its overcast form, the anime actually shows us that the overcast form actually has a completely different appearance to the sunshine form underneath its petals. According to Shellos' Pokedex entry, its colors and shapes differ from region to region. In the Sinnoh region, 2 types are confirmed. This is actually a very interesting Pokedex entry because the only other games that Shellos can be found in the wild besides the Gen 4 games are in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is most likely a reference to the fact that Shellos was originally going to be a Gen 3 Pokemon. According to Gastrodon's Ultramoon Dex entry, it is a relative of Shelder and Cloyster, but maybe even more interesting than that is that in Generation 7, each form of Gastrodon, the East Sea and the West Sea form, has its own unique Dex entry, making it one of the only Pokemon to have separate Dex entries for each of its unique forms. Up next is Ambipom, and in the Pokemon Adventures manga, Gold actually owns an Ambipom, and as an Apom, it was his starter Pokemon. Up next is Drifloon, and this has got to be the best fact of the whole video, not even gonna lie. Drifloon's concept and its yellow shiny coloration has an eerie similarity to the beginning plot of the 1953 noir crime thriller drama, The Yellow Balloon. In the movie, a boy named Frankie buys a yellow balloon from a street vendor and then proceeds to snatch his friend Ronnie's yellow balloon that he has already bought, which causes Ronnie to chase him. They end up running around in an old bombed out house where Ronnie ends up falling 30 feet and dies. The way that the yellow balloon in effect leads Ronnie to his death in the movie very eerily parallels how Drifloon poses as a balloon in order to entice children and take them to the underworld. According to Drifloon's Ultra Moon Dex entry, the raw material for the gas inside its body is souls. When its body starts to deflate, it's thought to carry away people and Pokemon. Now, can you imagine living your whole life, finally dying and making it to the afterlife, and then just having your soul used as gas for some hot air balloon creature? I mean, that's gotta be a terrible way to go. Oddly enough, Baniri of all Pokemon, yes I said Baniri, is the only Pokemon with a 0 base friendship that isn't a legendary or mythical Pokemon or an Ultra Beast. This bunny just does not want to be your friend. Its evolution Lopunny, aside from being a Pokemon that's based on a Playboy bunny, so yeah, that's kinda cool, is the only Pokemon that can learn Return by leveling up. Coincidentally, its pre-evolution Baniri, the hateful child bunny Pokemon, is the only Pokemon that can learn Frustration also by leveling up. Mismagius's HP, attack, and defense stats are all at base 60, giving it a 666 base stat line. Its special attack, speed, and defense stats are also raised 20 points each from Misdreavus's stats, which when put together gives Mismagius 60 more base stat points than its pre-evolution. Spoopy. Honchkro's English name uses a word of Japanese origin, that being honcho, which is derived from the Japanese hancho. Likewise, its Japanese name Donkarasu uses a Western origin word in its name, that being Don, which is derived from the Italian Don. The connection between both of these is that both Don and honcho are words that are used sometimes to describe the leaders of less than savory criminal organizations. Despite being a pretty run-of-the-mill Pokemon, the only game that Glameow can be found in under normal circumstances is Pokemon Pearl on routes 218 and 222. The only other places you can find Glameow outside of this are in a hidden grotto in Pokemon White 2 or in a Mirage Forest in Oraz. With Purugly, in another example of hidden design features like we saw with Floatzel, Purugly's tail is actually cinched around its body in order to make itself look more beefy, and is actually a lot more plump than it appears. Purugly, with its tail detached from itself, can actually be briefly seen in the Pokemon anime. Chingling's Japanese name is Lysian, which among other possible inspirations is literally just a corruption of the English word listen. Next up is Stunky, and a subtle yet cool part of Stunky's design, being a poison-type Pokemon, is that its chubby cheeks are most likely based on the shape of some gas masks. For its evolution Skunk Tank was actually the original leader of Team Skull. Yes, I said the original leader of Team Skull, or rather the original leader of the original Team Skull, because in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, way before Pokemon Sun and Moon, Skunk Tank was the leader of a team named Team Skull in this game. Bronzor's Pokedex entries often refer to ancient times or the distant past. This is because Bronzor is based on a bronze mirror, which is a type of mirror that predates today's glass mirrors that were made thousands of years ago in the distant past. Making another reference to the Pokedex, Bronzong is the only Pokemon that is able to learn Rain Dance by leveling up that is unable to benefit from it in any way, and this is most likely due to the fact that in its Pokedex entries, it's mentioned that Bronzong has the power to summon rain. And last but not least, we have Bonsly, and Bonsly has the honor of being the only Pokemon so far that is usable by the player in-game during the generation before its release, as it is available in Pokemon XD, a Generation 3 game, to be used in battle by the player with the Battle Bingo Bonsly card. And there we have it, everybody. That was the first half of one distinct fact about every single Sinnoh Pokemon. I absolutely love that you guys are enjoying this series as much as you are, because I have had a blast with it, and I have learned a lot of stuff about Pokemon myself, so I hope you have as well. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, and let me know down in the comments below which one of these facts was your favorite, and which Pokemon you are looking forward to learning about in Part 2, which will come out next Saturday. Now, obviously, we're in the middle of Pokemon Let's Go those seasons, so this was kind of a quick little break from that, but I do have my Let's Play going, and I will be uploading that every Monday and Friday, and I've also got my regular uploads every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday as well. So if you are not subscribed yet, definitely please do so. And as I said in the beginning of this video, if you would like to vote on videos you want to see and basically choose videos like this to see yourself as a viewer, then definitely go check out my Patreon. It only costs as little as $1 a month, and it really helps out. With all of that being said though, I will be back on Monday for a new Let's Play episode and Tuesday for another regular video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified as soon as all of this stuff goes live. And with all that being said, I love you guys of course, and until then, as always, I will smell you guys later.